Pull this into the backboard. What is it? 15 feet.
15 feet. Strap, put Ollie on your shoulders.
Measure this from the rim. Buddy? How far? 10 feet.
10 feet. I think you'll find it's exact same measurements as our gym back in Hickory. Okay, let's get dressed for practice.
Hey guys, welcome in. We are the Bro Force Squad podcast, and we're not winning a damn thing unless we get Jimmy Chitwood to come out and play with us. I am your host, Jeff Hornacek, and today we are doing another one of our Bro Back segments. It's March Madness. We're going to talk some amateur basketball movie, taking it all the way back to 1986 before any of us were even a twinkle in our dad's eye with the movie Hoosiers. Let's go around and meet our starting lineup. In the paint, Matt Geiger, whose dad brought him back to the pod after he tried to fucking quit. Matt, welcome.
Yeah, I actually want to be the guy who's his dad's a drunk. I think that's the closest thing.
I will determine whom is whom. And of course,
shut up now, my bad.
We go into the lab to our very own Ollie, underhanding his free throws to the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Brian, welcome.
Look. If it works, okay? That's a very important game, and we won.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Guys, if you have ever listened to a Bro Force Squad review before, you know we keep these things quick, to the point, hilarious, and we use our traditional 5-category grading scale. The first one, of course, is the cast. This is an older movie, so we may not recognize a lot of the people in it, but Geiger, what about the cast stood back to you going back and revisiting Hoosiers?
Sorry, don't I have to pass it 4 times before I say anything? Fuck it, I'll just go. Gene Hackman, heard of him? He fucking murdered this was the 80s, but 80s and 90s, man. He was fantastic. Dennis Hopper plays a drunk, which is fantastic. And then the chick I've never heard of, and she plays a complete bitch. We'll skip her. But all the kids that played on the basketball team totally bought it for, in Indiana. I think this was probably set maybe 56. I'm guessing this is when Elvis first hit the scene. But the cast did fantastic. It was a fantastic cast. Gene Hackman, of course, carried it. Had no problem with the cast. What about you, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. As always, Gene Hackman just killed it. He's awesome. And again, the kids were all believable that they're from this small town school where they have like 47 players to pick from. And I bought it, and just a true David and Goliath kind of feel. And every single actor portrayed that and reinforced that idea.
Gene Hackman is just a great fucking coach in movies. The Replacements, and then, of course, he plays Coach Dale in this. And him and Dennis Hopper, the two guys who really got out of this movie alive and ended up having great careers. So they're in their element, and they owned it. Our second category is the story. Banner, what about the story of Hoosiers stood out to you?
It's just a good life lesson. I mean, that's just the way to put it, is you get an opportunity to go back and reminisce on what you've done wrong and try and right those wrongs and be better in the future. And that's what this movie is about. I mean, yes, it's the small town kid winning the state championship, but at the end of the day, at least what I got out of it, is that it's Coach Dale punching that kid at Ithaca University after they won a national title, and he was his best player, but it doesn't matter.
What did he say to him?
Well, he doesn't even remember it, so did it happen?
What was he wearing?
Yeah. Geiger, what about the story of Hoosiers?
It depends on how old you are. Our fathers probably think this is one of the greatest sports movies ever. Us, I think we kind of hold it up on a higher echelon. Younger kids probably have never seen this movie, so if they rewatch it, they're like, man, this is the same old shit I've already seen. But Hoosiers started it all. They started kind of the first underdog story. I believe this was before the first Rocky, I think. But for basketball things, it was definitely the first small town. The underdog wins. The coach comes in, builds them down, then breaks them up. It was the first story of his time. A lot of people have copycatted it now. It's kind of watered down, and it sucks. But this movie, in the context and in the year, started everything. It was very original first time.
Yeah, I mean, this movie came out 6 years before even Rudy, for crying out loud. So it started a lot of the things in sports movies and underdog movies that we now know as cliches. I think that this might be the first slow clap ever in a sports movie. I can't prove that, but when I was watching, I was like, oh my God, that's my effect on pop culture. And I think now when kids go back... When kids go back and watch it, they're like, oh my God, this isn't like every movie. Like, yeah, but this was the fucking first one through the wall. So the story, you have to judge it on a curve because, like, this was the original, I think, in a lot of ways. All right, best scene. This should be interesting. Geiger, what do you got?
Skippy.
We'll pass one of the 4 times. All right. We'll
Better I'm passing.
All right.
It's very hard to
I'll
find
shoot
a
the J. I'll shoot the J.
Shoot it.
I'm like that fucking kid that leaves in the first practice because we're not scrimmaging. My best scene is when Coach Dale is recruiting Shooter to be an assistant, and he's like, look, I need you to be an assistant. You're awesome, but you got to be sober. Get your shit together. Like, I need you. I thought that was a great scene. Hands down the 2 best actors in the movie, acting the shit out of it. I thought it was fantastic. Took a little bit more of a serious stance on that.
I thought it was great to see Shooter's place. You cleaned it up and even offered him a drink. I mean, that's how you be hospitable. My favorite scene is kind of an iconic scene. It's when Coach Dale goes to recruit Jimmy Chitwood at the farm. And the thing I loved about this, my roommate actually told me this. So Jimmy Chitwood, who's Jay, is just so fucking wet all day. He's money from 15 to 18. We know that. He's an assassin. When Coach Dale says, you know what, I actually don't care if you play or not, and leaves, and Jimmy Chitwood misses the last jump shot, I've read multiple places after he told me this, but that was actually not in the script. And I think that's a great point of director David Anspaugh just said, like, wow, that's way better than what I wrote, and he kept it in. It's one of those, like, cool movie trivia tidbits. So, Geiger, are you ready to shoot yet, or do we need to just...
Yeah, I am. I was actually going to pass to give you guys the first dip at this. I'm really kind of surprised that no one else has said this, but when they go to Indianapolis for this championship, and anybody that's ever been in sports knows that, you know, the moment sometimes freaks you out. You don't play up to your capability. Whenever you got the tape measure out, the tape measured the basketball goal and the free throw line. And I was always taught that too, man. I remember Tiger Woods saying, you know, a 4-foot putt at the Masters is still a 4-foot putt. It doesn't matter if you're on the putting green just messing around listening to music, or if there's a million people watching you. Nothing changes except your mind. And I thought that was, once again, the first of its time. It's overplayed now, it's watered down, but that was the first of its time. And, you know, anytime you about to play a big game, you watch that scene, it kind of just brings you back to home. It's like, man, this is the same thing back in our gym in Hickory, boys. I love that scene. That still kind of gets me teared up and kind of gets me all warm and fuzzy inside. Yeah, and
my best scene. It's something, if you've ever played sports, your coach probably used it, and you're like, oh my God, that's so original. And then you see this movie, and you're like, you son of a bitch. But it worked at the time.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Effects on pop culture is our 4th category, and this is one I think is probably the biggest reason we did this. I'll go first. I mean, to me, this was kind of the quintessential sports movie and something that, Geiger, like you pointed out, means a lot to our parents because I think when they were growing up, it was breaking a lot of ground when it came out. And I just think it shows that the underdog story, I mean, there's obviously a ton of variations of it, but this is kind of it told in its purest form. Does it hold up? Not incredibly in like every aspect, but effects on pop culture. I mean, Hoosiers is a movie where if you talk to someone who hasn't seen it, like what's their deal? Banner. Geiger, why don't you go? You know, you passed last time. You're so unselfish.
I am unselfish. That's why I said you guys are my role players. I want to get you on the board. But effects on pop culture are huge.
Good thing to say.
I know. Thank you. It's huge, man. I mean, we're right in the middle of March Madness. That's why we're kind of doing these basketball movies. And, you know, 12 beats 5 all the time. Cinderella's happen. Big teams do lose to small teams sometimes. It does happen. And this movie really captures that for sure. Like Shooter said, and has there ever been a more person that was more annoying sober than drunk than shooter, who was like saying, "This is the smallest team ever to been to a state high school champion." The nurse is like, "I got this shit covered for me. I really don't give a shit." This movie is huge on effects on pop culture. Started the whole sporting genre and everything like that. Banner, what do you think?
I'm going to parlay this with my rewatchability answer, which is our fifth category, because I think they both kind of go hand in hand. I relate this to, or if we have to compare this to, this is just like the original Superman from 1978. Rewatchability-wise, I'm not going to watch it all that often because I'm going to opt for a newer basketball movie. But yet, this started it all. And that's huge. It started sports movies. Like Jeff said, this is, 4-6 years before Rudy even came out? Mm-hmm. And then you've got other cult classics like Mike that came after this. So it's what started the movie or the sports movie genre, which just exploded in the 90s. And that's my impact on pop culture. I think it's very big. And then again, going back to rewatchability, it's a great movie. I'm gonna watch it every once in a while. But if I had to pick between this basketball movie and that basketball movie, 9 out of 10 times I'm gonna pick that basketball movie.
Yeah. So our last category, real quick, rewatchability. Geiger, what do you got?
Rewatchability, I haven't watched this movie until we were doing this for probably 8 years. If it's on TV, I doubt I watch it. Once again, I have a movie carousel whenever it's a certain time, before golf season, I watch Caddyshack and Tin Cup. This isn't in my basketball carousel before, the NBA Finals or before March Madness. It's very dated. There are some great scenes, but there are some scenes that really show that this was made in 86. I'll rewatch it maybe once every 5 years. Jeff?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it is very dated. Bob Knight probably watches it every day because all it is fucking screens being set over and over and over. But it's not a movie I can watch too much because it is dated, but I think, as we all kind of said...
Play the game the right way, definitely, in this movie, don't they?
A different time. But we all do have good respect for it and what it means to sports movies and movies in general, but it's not something you're going to pop in all the time, but I definitely appreciate it, and I think we all kind of do what it did for the sports genre. All right, guys.
We did learn how to run the picket fence, though.
Yeah, and we still do that to this day, even on this podcast. And on that segue, we have been the Bro 4 Squad. For the other bros, I'm your host, Jeff Hornacek. Be sure to check us out on our website, bro4squad.com. Like us on Facebook, Bro4 Squad, 3 words. Follow us on Twitter, @Bro4Squad. And subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube, @Bro4Squad. Leave us an iTunes review. Tell us how awesome we are, how much we suck. Guys, we appreciate it, and we will catch you next time.